niggerized, then you need to spend the next 20 undoing it. You need to be just as committed to undoing it as you were to getting cooked.
I know you're right.
You feel me? See, we go to school, we get all his garbage, and then you walk away, well, I don't believe that. Hell, it's in your bones, man. You ain't got no choice but to believe it. That's all you know.
That's true.
So unless you do something to take that cancer out, it's there.
That's true.
So when you empty the vase, you got to put something back in it.
That's true. That's
So
right.
every day you need to spend at least 1 hour studying and reading a book. I talk to grown people every day, ain't read a book in ooh-wee. Okay? Knowledge is kept in books. The lie is buried in the library. Huh? And we take our butts past the library every day going to the bank because you don't know what real power is. $1 is something they print on a press. It's worthless. They change the value every time they get a chance and when they feel like it.
They can do that.
Huh?
They certainly can. But the thing about it is, you know, see that brother there? They were practicing physical education. How many years I met you? About 3 years? Yeah. And the physical education that they're practicing is the savior to our race as a people.
If you don't change your mind,
from the
it won't
physical,
help you.
the type of food that you're putting into your body.
No question.
The cutting out the cigarettes, the cutting out the whiskey, the cutting out all of this stuff.
Part of it
is the key. Cleaning your morals up where you're no problem to yourself or your neighbor. Then educating yourself and develop your spiritual life. Once you begin to do that, then you are called.
How you gonna do that? I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff.
Well, that's
How you
easy
gonna
to do. All you got to do is get yourself on a program, or become more holistic. Start off that way, because now you're building.
Wait a minute, time out.
Huh?
Elijah Muhammad was teaching holistic health
That's
in 1939.
that's a Masonic Egyptian culture. The 4 elements of life.
Okay, but here's the problem. You got to have the whole picture. Just like with the cell salts, if you don't know about that, all those other things you're doing is not going to fix you.
Well, that's where you come in at. See, a teacher is second to God. That's why I have so much respect for you and what you're doing. See, the people, the masses of the people does not have the knowledge.
That's always the case.
And plus the fact they don't even have time.
It's always going to be like that.
That's
bro.
right.
Yeah, plus the fact they don't even have time to find out the knowledge.
Time is something you control.
It's only one like yourself. They get the knowledge
Because
and pass it down.
what
to
I
your people.
did is I decided this is what I was going to use my time for. I stopped letting other people tell me what I was going to do. See, the first thing we did early on in this, and Keon can tell you because he's been with me forever, okay? The first thing I ask everybody is, what is your purpose? You need to answer that question before you do anything else in your life. Why are you here?
Absolutely.
If you don't know that, you're probably working against your own spirit every day and don't know it. Okay? That's number one. The second thing is every business in the world has a business plan. Every business.
That's true.
Your biggest business is your life. Do you have a plan?
That's true.
No. We don't have a plan. That's why I need a job. I got to do this. You running around always doing somebody else's stuff instead of your own. You building a world for somebody other than yourself because you don't have a plan.
Right.
And you don't work your purpose. Once I realized my purpose was to make a difference for people that looked like me. Okay? When I first said that, I didn't know who the hell Dr. Clark was, and I sure as hell hadn't read these books. Okay? But once I put that in the universe put certain people and things in my life, and it changed my whole being. Because when I met Dr. Clark, I didn't know this man had 50,000 books in his library he had read. I had no clue. All I knew is he's a bad historian, blah, 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 okay? So when I brought him to Minnesota, I picked him up. I knew a little about his personal life, which wasn't too good, okay? So I said, I want to follow in your footsteps. I want, I'll carry your mantle. He said, many people have said this, but few people are willing to do the work. Now, when he said that, I didn't get it. That did not register with me until I went to his house and my wife lived with him and took care of him, and I got to experience and walk into his library personally. 50,000 books. His library was as big as this shop. Nothing but rows and rows of books. And he had read them all. And he was blind, and he could tell you what book was on each shelf, and it was all categorized. Blind. Okay? Now, once I got that, I realized there's no way I'm going to do that. I'm not going to read 50,000 books. And I told him that before he died, Doc, I don't want to go out of here thinking I'm going to lie to you. But what I am going to do, I'm going to become a bad mammer jammer in the piece of this that I'm going to master. Now, I don't even, truth be told, I don't even mess with the stuff Dr. Clark did. Because he deals with Africa in the 1500s, Songhay, Mali, okay, and comes to America. My thing is from the origin of man to the Greco-Roman period. That's when you were the greatest people on this planet, and that's what we don't know. Now, that took me to, I read Church Wars, Signs and Symbols of Primordial Man, which is in John Jackson, Diop, all of them. I had this book, and I never read it. Ancient Egypt, Lie of the World, that was my thing. I used to teach out of that, coming and going. And I gave this book to Brent Allen. This is a true story. He said, give me something to read. I gave him a book by The Dawn of Astronomy by Locklear. He gave it back to me. So I handed him this book.
Yep.
He read it, he came back, he said, man,
Yep.
Do you know
that.
that the pyramid is 270,000 years old? If you go online right now on the Black United Front's website, you will see under my stuff, under Imhotep, I tell this same story just like everybody else did. Okay? Because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
Until I read this.
Yeah.
And then when I started digging a little deeper and I got into Swaller Delugits and some other things, all of a sudden I realized these black scholars had not had access to these white boys' data. Diop or any of them. Because if they had, if Diop would have known Church Ward, he wouldn't have had to spend his whole life trying to prove that the mummies was black. Because Church Ward tell you that from the day one. All of it started with the pygmy. He tells you that with pictures. Okay? But he, on page 148 to 152 of this book, he tells you they know this because they observed it 10 times of that zodiac cycle, and the cycle is 26,000, and documented it. And you can't tell time until you build the building. They said,
can't tell time until doing it is up.
Therefore, it must have been built at least 269,870 years ago. This may be difficult for some people to believe, but records of the past prove it. So we don't give a damn if you believe it or not. We know this to be true. And they also tell you these are the same boys that built the stuff at Stonehenge. They know that.
That's true.
We're the only ones that don't know. That changed everything.
Yeah.
You think that's the Star of David.
Let me look at that again.
No.
That is the same pole stars that Dr. Gunn was talking about, and the 6 never-setting stars around them in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And when you trace them out, that's what causes, that gives you that double pyramid.
Interlacing pyramid.
Okay? What we don't know is the first one was the one pointing downward. Because see, everything we've been taught is all oriented north.
Yeah.
But that's not where this story
What
came
is the
from.
one pointing down me? What is it?
That's dealing with the southern pole star. This was God first. Set was the first god. Horus is nowhere to be found for Uwi. Set, when it comes down to Horus, which everybody now, Horus and Jesus, and hey, that is, in the context of these two, that's the new kid on the block. Because you were down here for a very long time before you ever migrated up here. And until you get to this point, you can't even see this.
That's true.
See, again, we don't know our history the way we need to. If we did, we would go back and flip the script, not only on each other, but you would surely, hey, you could tear white history classes in every institution out here apart. There's no defense for the Zodiac.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Pertaining to the young people, and I want to ask the young men here, would they be able to relate to this type of information as far as like your age group? And would they be able to catch this, or is there another way we can present this to where it's more?
That wouldn't be able to.
Or with somebody like your age with this information, and they seeing somebody young doing this, would it be more attracted to them?
Yeah.
See, let's go back to why any education is important. Necessity is the mother of invention. Okay? This is not going to mean anything to them until Trump gets in office. Okay? When they truly put their foot down on us, okay, and you back to Reconstruction and pre-Reconstruction, then you're going to start looking for some answers. Right now, it's all good.
That's right.
Okay?
That's
I'm flowing with the white folks. It's cool. They ain't did nothing to me, man. Huh? You think you got what they got. You don't know that you got the crumbs. You ain't even got table scraps. You got the crumbs. See, we don't dream of living on Ward Parkway. Huh? We know we better stay east of Truce. See, you don't even know the history of your city.